Yes, we're live. Uh, First of all, ẹ jẹ́ ká kọ́kọ́ kí gbogbo àwọn tó ń wò wá. We want greet you and appreciate you for standing by. At the same time, we want to apologize that we started late. Initially, ó yẹ ká lo Zoom, ṣùgbọ́n kínní yẹn àti go live lórí Zoom yẹn ó fún wa ní challenges there. The reason we are going to be blending Yoruba and English is that this is a Yoruba Nation project constitution that we want to evaluate the draft. But at the same time, we understand there are people who are not necessarily Yoruba or who are not even in Nigeria. We may not understand Yoruba too deep or enough, but we like to also listen or enjoy or participate in the program or listen to it. So let's get it started. I have initially on Zoom we had about how many? Up to 7, but because Zoom could not take us to stream, we decided to use something simpler. So for currently a kàn ní èèyàn bíi méjì tó ń fẹ́ bá wa gbé ọ̀rọ̀ yìí yẹ̀ wò. Ẹ bá mi kọ́kọ́ ṣe hello sí àwọn aráalé. Mo ní alàgbà Gani Alágbàlá àti alàgbà àbí kí n sọ pé barrister directly, barrister Adérẹ̀mílẹ́kùn Ọmọjọlá. Ẹ bá mi kọ́kọ́ kí àwọn aráalé ká tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti máa wo constitution Yorùbá Nation tí ó fẹ́ jáde.
Mr. Agbara, ṣe máa kọ́ lọ.
Oh, that's fine. Ẹ ṣé o, olóòtú. Mo kí gbogbo ilé, gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá, gbogbo ẹni tó bá wo ètò yìí wá ìta ń ṣe live, àtàwọn tí wọ́n bá tún wò lẹ́yìn tá a ṣe tán. Ẹ kú dédé àsìkò tá a bá wà o. Ẹ kú bójú ọjọ́ ṣe rí. Olúwa á gba ilẹ̀ wa fún wa, á ṣàánú wa o. Ẹ ṣé.
Barrister Ọmọjọlá.
Yeah, thank you very much. Ẹ ṣé gan. Orúkọ tèmi Adérẹ̀mílẹ́kùn Ọmọjọlá. A wá láti ẹgbẹ́ Yoruba Strategy Alliance to discuss the proposed constitution for Yoruba Nation. Bá a ṣe sọ, it's only a proposal, but mo máa ń pè ní, for me, it's a love letter to our people. Because it is everything that a nation, everything that we wish to have in a nation. So we try to avoid all the mistakes of Yoruba, of Nigeria, and to design a luto da fún àwọn èèyàn wa. By way of disclaimer, I normally speak Yoruba, but as a special concession to our host, due to the audience, so I want to accommodate and speak a little bit more English today.
All right, Eshungo, thanks for joining this show. First, without wasting time, torí mo mọ̀ pé àkókò ó wà of essence. Ẹ jẹ́ ká kọ́kọ́ wo kí ni àwọn highlights to distinguish Yoruba Nation constitution yìí from Nigeria's constitution. Kí làwọn benefits tó wà nínú constitution tẹ draft fún Yoruba Nation yìí tó fi jẹ́ pé àwọn èèyàn máa fi ní confidence nínú ẹ̀ láti accept ẹ̀ ju nǹkan tó wà ní constitution Nigeria lọ. Àwọn nǹkan wo ló wà nínú ẹ̀ tó yàtọ̀ sí constitution Nigeria?
Okay. Ní alákọ̀ọ́kọ́, tẹ́ bá lọ wo constitution Nigeria yẹn, lórí àwọn lè sọ ní bá ṣe béèrè yìí. Tẹ́ bá lọ wo constitution Nigeria yẹn, kò kí ń ṣe democratic constitution rárá. It is basically a dictatorial government. Tí wọ́n disguise as a democracy. Tẹ́ bá lọ wo constitution yẹn dáadáa, ẹ máa rí pé mo sọ ti Nàìjíríà lélẹ́yìí o, ká tó ṣe wá sọ ti Yoruba Nation. Tẹ́ bá wo dáadáa, máa rí pé Section 6C of the Nigerian Constitution says that the government owes no obligation to its citizens. It is written in the Constitution, and I'm quoting the section 6C of the Nigerian Constitution. So the government owes no obligation to its citizens. Can you imagine? on the Kokini in the constitution. So they have managed to legalize all the illegality that they perform. The the consumption of public funds, the privatization of our public wealth, the corruption, they have legalized it in the constitution by saying that the government doesn't owe us any obligations. No wonder we have no roads, no electricity, no working hospital that is world class, nothing. Then we will, Section 308 of the Nigerian Constitution. It gives immunity, absolute immunity to government officials. That is, they can do whatever they want while they're in office and they have immunity. You cannot arrest them, you cannot even investigate them. This is section 308 of the Nigerian Constitution. The same privilege is in one form among governors. Level section 121 at 122. So the governors come about the office. I want immunity. Now, level exclusive list. It is not really, that list gives all the meaningful powers to the federal government. Electricity, arms and ammunition, resources, mineral resources, elections, everything that matters is in the hands of the federal government. So if you want to build a power, infrastructure that will provide electricity for Lagos State, you have to first go all the way to Abuja and go and be playing politics and daddy yo, begging them to allow you to provide electricity for your own state. So it is not really a constitution that practices separation of powers. In any valid government, àwọn agbára tó wà nínú democracy yẹn máa ń pín ni. The federal government will have its own powers, the state governments will have their own powers, and then within the government, the judiciary and the executive and legislative, they all have their own powers. So the power is divided across multiple ways. So even if you are the president, your powers are limited. That is how it's supposed to be. But in the Nigerian system, gbogbo ẹ̀ àdàlú ni everything. Wọ́n ti da gbogbo ẹ̀pọ̀ sí ojú kan. And then ní ibẹ̀ anywhere. Ọ̀hún ṣe l'Amẹ́ríkà, ọ̀hún ṣe ní Canada, ọ̀hún ṣe ní USA, ọ̀hún ṣe ní England, ọ̀hún ṣe ní Holland. So we looked at the structure of the Constitution of Nigeria and all of the rubbish tí wọ́n kọ sínú ẹ̀, and we made sure that even though wọ́n pè ní presidential system, it's not really a presidential democracy. It is what I call a dictatorial government disguised as a democracy. So èyí táwa gbélé, this constitution that we propose, there is number one, there is no immunity for officials who do anything wrong, whether you are the governor or the president.
Even while they are in power,
While they're in power,
they can face prosecution.
we must avoid the mistakes that turn Nigeria to what it is. No one is above the law. So just because you are the governor or the president doesn't mean that you can engage in corruption, abuse of authority. We've all seen cases of officials, their aides or their security men beating people, different kinds of things. And because they're the governor, you cannot investigate them. Some cases they engage in corruption and graft, stealing public funds for their private use, and because one immunity. So in this constitution we propose, there is no immunity for any official. Number one.
But Emma Binu, kini te koko quote yẹn tó sọ pé government does not owe obligation to citizens. Ṣé kò specify lórí nǹkan kan? Ṣé lórí gbogbo nǹkan ló sọ pé kò ní obligation ni? Is it on everything that is the government, the constitution of Nigeria says government does not owe obligation, or did it specify on a particular right?
To my knowledge, as I understand it, it just says in general that, of course, I'm paraphrasing, but you can look at the Nigerian Constitution, Section 6C, so that
Okay.
I'll only confirm. It says the government does not owe any obligation. The government owes no obligation to citizens. So the first point is that the Nigerian government, there is no separation of powers. Agbára yẹn wọn pín kákàkiri. ìdí tó fi máa ń pín agbára kákàkiri ni pé ẹnìkan ò ní lè kó gbogbo agbára jọ, kò ní lè máa ṣe nǹkan tó wù ú, à á lè control each other. It's called checks and balances. Èmi ní agbára tí
But a níyẹn náà nínú democracy Nigeria to an extent. Bóyá àwọn tí wọ́n wà ní ìjọba ni wọ́n wá ṣe bó ṣe bí ni wọ́n wá follow constitution, ṣùgbọ́n mo mọ̀ pé a ní judiciary, a ní executive, a dẹ̀ ní legislature.
Well,
Bóyá
let me come in from here.
okay.
I'll start from saying what we have in Nigeria is not a democracy. Àkọ́kọ́ ni wípé, if you ask me what is the major difference nínú nǹkan táwa ń propose, kò ń ṣe pé ọwọ́ náà ló ń hún wa tá fi jókòó, but nígbà tí gbogbo èèyàn ń pariwo a fẹ́ lọ, báwo la ṣe fẹ́ ṣe? Ká tiẹ̀ fi hàn àwọn èèyàn wa bó ṣe yẹ kí constitution jẹ́, and that is the number one thing. It's about representative from constituency tí wọ́n jókòó láti ní binding document, ìwé òfin àbí àbádì òfin ìlú, pé ìlú wa yìí o, àwọn representative náà máa lọ jókòó tán máa kọ́, tí wọ́n á dẹ̀ sọ, àwọn náà dẹ̀ mọ̀ yẹn. That is why tẹ́ bá wo first paragraph wọ́n ní we the people. But in essence, wọ́n ní à ní democracy, gbogbo ẹ̀ wọnú ara wọn ni. What we have in Nigeria, it's àlùpàídà òfin ni. Òfin kan pa sójà tó ń pè ní decree, which is in a way the rules of the dictators. Àwọn tí ṣe mọ̀ pé ọ̀rọ̀ sójà, the barracks and everyone else living outside the barracks, ó dàbí pé mo wà muted.
But ẹ ti padà ń sìn mi mọ nǹkan tó
Okay, all right.
bí alátọ̀dọ̀ yín.
So the barracks, àwọn sójà tẹ́ bá lọ wò wọ́n ní habit kan, wọ́n á máa pe àwọn tó wà ní outside ní bloody civilian. They were trained in such a way torí pé wọ́n ti sign up fún ogun. Wọ́n á ní obey first and then complain, obey the last command. Tẹ́ bá wá wo nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ nílùú wa láti 1966, nígbà tí àwọn Ìrọ̀nsí Gowon tí wọ́n ti gba ìjọba lọ́dọ̀ àwọn nǹkan táwọn bàbá wa gbélé àwọn Awólọ́wọ̀ yẹn gbà yẹn, nígbà tó ń gba ìjọba lọ́wọ́ àwọn Tafawa Balewa tó ń pa gbogbo story yẹn lẹ mọ̀. Ẹ rí i pé sójà ló ń ṣe ìjọba. Nígbà tó wá rí i pé ariwo pọ̀, wọ́n try Shagari. I think that was an interval. Shagari ṣe díẹ̀, ó kúrò ń bẹ̀ o, wọ́n tún hijack ẹ̀. In essence, tẹ́ bá ka iye olórí orílẹ̀-èdè tá ti ní Nàìjíríà, ẹ rí i pé bóyá Shagari àti Jonathan nìkan, mi ìwà mọ̀ èrè tó rán mi létí, ni true láti 1966 yẹn ni o tólógun ti gbà, àwọn nìkan ni true civilian, so to say, because a lè pe bàbá wa Ọbásanjọ́. As a matter of fact, nǹkan táwa rò pé wọ́n ṣe ni pé wọ́n ṣe òfin yẹn, wọ́n dẹ̀ rí nǹkan tó wà nínú ẹ̀. Gbogbo wọn náà tún wá lọ ń bọ́ agbádá sílẹ̀, wọ́n ń bọ́ kakí sílẹ̀, wọ́n ń wọ agbádá láti wá benefit òpin kan pa tí wọ́n ṣe lórí àwọn èèyàn wa. So when you say democracy, it's representation, the government of representation by the people. What you have.
Oh, so sorry. While we are trying to connect him back, I guess that's a network issue from his side. Perhaps his device is having a call. Maybe a call is coming in directly on his device he's using. But Barrister, while we are looking to connect him back, mo fẹ́ béèrè pé ṣé mọ̀ pé constitution Nigeria ní structure tó fi power sọ́wọ́ àwọn governors, House of Reps, senators and all that. Mo dey understand pé most of our Yoruba, we have him back. You're welcome back, sir. Understand most of so but mo tún ti move sí another point nísìnyí pé mo ní pé structure wà nínú constitution Nigeria. Ó dẹ̀ fún power sọ́wọ́ àwọn èèyàn like president, exclusive list, governors, this, senators ní project, constituency and all that, reps and all that. mo dẹ̀ rí pé most of the time before this uh, system we are practicing came on, the pre-colonial era, Yorùbá ní structures títí ẹ̀ tí àwọn máa ní ọba, àwọn ìlú mèsì ọ̀tún òsì, àwọn tó ń ṣiṣẹ́, àwọn agbèfọ́ba nǹkan kan tó fi ń to ìlú ńgbà yẹn. Ṣé proposed constitution yìí, ṣé structure old pre-colonial Yorùbá era ló fẹ́ bring back ni, àbó máa take similar form with the democracies of the world that is still presidential system or cabinet, àbó fẹ́ padà sí system structure wo gangan ló fẹ́ take? Ṣáwọn ọba ló fẹ́ impose, ló fẹ́ return power sí ni, àbí ó ṣì máa maintain pé okay governor ṣì máa wà tí ọba dẹ̀ máa ṣì wà lábẹ́?
Good question. I will take that too, Barrister. Well, mo ń sọ̀rọ̀ kan lọ lẹ́ẹ̀kan, any structure wà ní Nigeria. You see, what you have is a rubber stamp House of Assembly. House of Assembly tí ò ní power.
You see the structure working for
the... mo ń sọ lọ nìyẹn kí n tó já mi mọ nǹkan tó já mi. And I think it's a very important point to make. Ìpè nǹkan tá a ní sìn, ẹ rí i pé wọn ò ṣe nǹkan tó yẹ kán ṣe. What we think is àwọn èèyàn wò pé okay, wàá fún yín ní nǹkan tó jọ democracy. Mi rò pé àwọn sójà gbéjọba sílẹ̀. Wọ́n wá fi àwọn structure yẹn síbẹ̀. Okay, you're saying pé wọ́n ní agbára fún governor, but the governor of a state, wọ́n pariwo nílùú ẹ̀ pé insecurity wà. You call him the chief security of the state, but kò ní agbára láti ṣe security unless tó bá gba power látòkè. So ẹ má jẹ́ ká tanra wa now. Anyway, coming back to your question, because I see you've moved on from that. You see, the system that we propose is what we call hybrid. Benefit tó máa ń wà nù kí èèyàn evolve kó jáde tí àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá wà káàkiri ayé ni pé ẹ mú ọgbọ́n tọ̀tún ẹ fi kún tòsì. Àwọn bàbá wa ní ọgbọ́n ọlọ́gbọ́n kò ń jẹ́ ká pe àgbà ní wèrè. And that is the benefit. A ní àṣà tiwa tó jẹ́ pé what the world is calling democracy today, tí ò bá jẹ́ pé àwọn òyìnbó wọ́n wá interfere, wọ́n wá colonize wa ni, àwa náà ti develop organically. We would have developed into a system, because what we had was a democracy. We have a system where there's a king, and then you have the king's parliament, so to say. Àwọn ìgbìmọ̀ ọba àbí àwọn olóyè. So it's not a one man making decision. But gbogbo ayé ló ń lo monarch ńgbà yẹn. We will have developed to a better system. But as we have it, àwọn òyìnbó wá. So what we have done, láti go straight to your point, bóyá Barrister lè fẹ́ hard sí ni pé we took amú nínú ọgbọ́n àwọn bàbá wa tán kọ́ wa. And as a matter of fact, we have role for the king. Tí ò sí nínú democracy òyìnbó. We call them the COK, Council of Kings. Wọ́n dẹ̀ wà níbẹ̀, kò ń ṣe pé wọ́n máa lo agbára kan lórí ẹni tán bá yàn gẹ́gẹ́ bí ààrẹ àbí adarí ìjọba. No, torí àwọn ní permanent advantage, wípé àwọn máa ń wà bẹ́ẹ̀ permanently ni. So ó ní bá ṣe ṣe tó jẹ́ pé àwọn rule kan wà tó jẹ́ pé tẹ́ni yẹn bá kọjá ààyè táràlú dẹ̀ ń pariwo, nǹkan tó yẹ káwọn House of Assembly ṣe, àwọn ọba lè ṣe, wọn ò lè ṣe so to say, but wọ́n lè initiate pé aráàlú ń pariwo, a dẹ̀ fún wọn ní àṣẹ láti fẹnu kò, láti kọ ìwé tí gbogbo wọn ó níye nọ́mbà àwọn tán wà nínú COK yẹn, tán bá fi lè fọwọ́ sí, tán ní simple majority signature, gẹ́gẹ́ bí àpẹẹrẹ Aláàfin sign, Olúwo sign, Oníbàdàn sign, Elékòó sign, Ọlọ́yọ̀ sign, Oníbìkan, gbogbo wọn sign. And out of 30, ẹ wá rí bí 20 kings tó fọwọ́ sí pé àwọn aráàlú ń pariwo pé ẹni tó ń darí wa yìí ò dá. Signature yẹn is now a legal binding tí wọ́n lè submit láti COK táwa propose sí House of Assembly. House of Assembly, they must initiate an hearing for impeachment. Versus nǹkan tá a ní sìn, tẹ bá rí i pé APC wà ń bẹ̀ tán dominate house, tó lórí wọn bá ń ṣe nǹkan tí ò dáa, wọn ò ní lè listen sí nǹkan táráàlú ń sọ because of the partisan whatever tó wà láàrin wọn. So what we have is an hybrid. Àwọn èèyàn kan á ní presidential ni, rárá o. Yes, I propose pé a máa ní president. I propose pé a máa ní bicameral uh, legislature.
Legislation, yeah.
Yes, we propose that for a reason because a wo àwọn èèyàn wa irú èèyàn tán jẹ́. A gbé parliament ló àwọn bàbá wa tán ń lead kíní wọ́n máa ń sọ̀rọ̀ parliament but nǹkan táwa máa padà fi yé wọn tó bá tó àsìkò yẹn ni pé àsìkò bàbá Awólọ́wọ̀ gan ó ti yàsìkò sásìkò ìsìn o. Àwa ta fẹ́ ṣèjọba lé lórí gan ká wò wá because ojú ti là gan. So what you have is hybrid. I mú the best from across the world. I infuse ẹ̀ pẹ̀lú àwọn ọgbọ́n bàbá wa àti àwọn nǹkan tí a consider to be our weakness as Yorùbá àti àwọn nǹkan tí a consider to be our strength. A factor gbogbo nǹkan yìí papọ̀. A gbé kalẹ̀. Yes, ó jọ democracy tí gbogbo ayé náà ń lò. Ó jọ ohun tó ń lò lamẹ́ríkà tẹ́ bá tún wò ó tún jọ ohun tó ń lò ní Germany ó jọ ohun tó ń lò ní Canada gbogbo ẹ̀ náà la mú ọgbọ́n àwọn ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n tán jókòó tán kọ́ it's all over. So hybrid system làwa ní. I don't know ẹ lè bá wa sọ lórúkọ but I think we can call it our own unique government of system. Ẹ ṣé.
Ẹ ṣeun gan fún bẹ́ ṣe bá mi tanná síbẹ̀ yẹn. Ó kàn jẹ́ wípé ibi tí mo fẹ́ kí emphasis wà ni bóyá àwọn ọba máa ní enough power àbí bóyá àwọn ọba tún ṣì máa wà lábẹ́ àwọn tí a pè ní governor. But láti dáhùn yẹn mo máa fẹ́ kí ẹ tún bá wa tanná sí angle kan náà tẹ́ bá fẹ́ bá mi fi emphasis sí ibi tí power máa rest sí jù. Ni how many states lẹ́ ń wò tó máa jẹ́ because part of the reason tí wọ́n ṣe ní wọ́n adopt one system of government or the other ni pé wọ́n náà ń wo number of states tó wà Nàìjíríà to call it a federation tẹ́lẹ̀ ṣùgbọ́n nísìnyí tá a bá ní wọ́n carve out Yorùbá out of Nigeria to form a nation. Now how many states là ń wò then ṣé federal structure yẹn náà tún ni pẹ̀lú having a president or tó bá dẹ̀ jẹ́ states yẹn náà lè ṣe ń wò ṣé bicameral legislation yẹn náà tún ṣe máa suffice ṣó ṣe máa wà effective ń bẹ̀ àbí another system tó tún máa unique lẹ́ tó fẹ́ introduce. Mo máa fẹ́ kẹ́ bá mi tàn then àwọn ọba ṣó máa ní agbára padà.
Mo ti gbọ́ yín yé ní èyí tá a wà nísìn wọ́n ti sọ àwọn ọba wa di mi ò tiẹ̀ lè sọ lẹ́nu kò gbọ́dọ̀ jáde lẹ́nu mi torí wọ́n ṣe kọ́ wa but wọ́n ti gbàgbára lọ́wọ́ wọn pátápátá. They are like toothless bulldog. Ceremonial king ni wọ́n. Tí ọba àtèèyàn bá ń ṣe nǹkan kan nísìn as a matter of fact gbogbo wa la mọ̀ present status quo. I don't need to torí ó máa dàbí ìgbà tí mò ń fi ẹnu mi bu àtẹ́lu àwọn ọba wa ni and that is it. Ó dẹ̀ ṣe ni láàánú pé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn ọba wa òde òní náà wọ́n ti gba kámú. Well, in the world today mo ní the world evolve. England then wò yẹn monarch náà ń lò tẹ́lẹ̀. If you go back to the ancient Asian world, even the Russia, we used to have what we call the Shah of Russia, kó tó di revolution. The Iran, àwọn náà ní àwọn kan supreme leader. But as the world evolved, gbogbo wọn rí pé the kind of administration that you need right now, and need is some kind of head of administration. Even àwọn tó ń lo parliament, wọ́n lo prime minister. Because a fẹ́ separate power àwọn kan tó máa wá láti fi ọpọlọ wọn ṣe administrative work. Bóyá president ni o, bóyá prime minister ni o, tó máa serve at a limited time tó máa lọ. A gbọ́dọ̀ separate yẹn sí èyí tó jẹ́ pé a ti yàn án as a monarch permanently. So kò ń ṣe pé ọba wa for say no máa jẹ́ adarí ìjọba, but we put them power ta fún wọn is the power of check and balance. Number one, wọn ò gba owó lábẹ́ ìjọba. Bí wọ́n ṣe ṣètò owó fún House of Assembly làwa propose sí pé ọba tilẹ̀ Yorùbá o wọ́n máa ní what they call the monarch fund. Independent tí ì ṣe pé ọba yìí ṣẹ̀ mí mi ò sanwó ẹ̀. Governor tó bá ti withdraw.
Barrister, wọ́n tún ti ìlà yẹn tún ti já. Barrister, ó dà pé ẹ tún máa bá wa tẹ̀síwájú lórí ìta à ń sọ lọ tẹ́lẹ̀, àwọn differences tó wà láàrin constitution ta draft fún Yorùbá yìí àti eléyìí tí ó wà Nàìjíríà tẹ́lẹ̀. Ó dà pé each time tí alàgbà bá ti jábẹ̀ máa padà sórí Barrister.
mo expect kí Barrister continue náà ni, so go ahead. Ibi tí n bá dẹ̀
so mo tiẹ̀ ti ní káwọn continue níbi tí wọ́n ti dúró tẹ́lẹ̀ kó tó di pé ẹ̀yin connect yẹn. Àwọn differences, àwọn nǹkan tí Yoruba Nation constitution yìí tó fi yàtọ̀ sí Nàìjíríà, àwọn highlight àwọn point yẹn pé eléyìí wọ́n ti mention immunity pé kò ní sí, wọ́n ti mention, mo fẹ́ gbọ́ sí kán tó fún wa sí.
Ṣé ìkànnì àwọn major differences tó wà ní constitution Yoruba Nation that propose yìí, it's wọn là ń pè ní limited government. A ti specify àwọn agbára tó jẹ́ agbára federal government àti àwọn agbára tó jẹ́ agbára state government. So kò sí bí president ṣe lè president tó kò lè kọjá àwọn agbára tí a ti kọ sílẹ̀ fún, and they are enumerated, they are listed. Òun ló ń pè ní enumerated powers. Àti list wọn, the federal government has the power to do things like coin money, common currency, the joint defense, army, navy, and conveyance. Regulate the trade among the states. These are the powers that are given federal government. Now, the president of Yoruba Nation is actually the president of the federal government. So, nígbà tí kọ àwọn agbára federal government sílẹ̀ already àti kọ wọ́n sílẹ̀, kò sí bó ṣe president tó kò lè kọjá àwọn agbára tí a ti kọ sílẹ̀ fún.
Yẹn ni pé kò lè exceed, they cannot exceed the powers given within his,
because the powers are enumerated at their list. Now.
But Barrister, ẹ má bínú pé mo sáré wá sínú já sí lẹ́ńbẹ̀ yẹn. Ṣé mọ̀ wípé most of the things even Nigeria constitution provides for a lot of things tó jẹ́ pé ó wà nù constitution, wọn kàn implement ẹ ni, wọn kàn dẹ̀ tẹ̀lé. For instance, ẹ mọ̀ pé àwọn right to this, right to that, to expression, to this and all that. Ó wà nínú constitution Nigeria, implementation ló kàn ń jẹ́ níyà. Kí ni ètò tó wà nílẹ̀ láti make sure pé implementation kan ló máa jẹ́ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ohun tó dáa tẹ́ sọ kalẹ̀ yìí ní Yorùbá constitution?
Ṣé rí Nigerian constitution yẹn fraud ni, number one. Lóòótọ́ wọ́n lè ní pé àwọn ní rights, but at the same time section 60 náà sọ pé ìjọba ò jẹ́ anybody ní kankan. So wọ́n ti ní pé wọ́n fọwọ́ kan fún yín, wọ́n ti fọwọ́ ọwọ́ kejì bá padà. It's a plus and minus tó já sí zero. So Nigeria is nothing to write home about. but
okay.
Yeah, constitution.
Ètò wo ló wà nílẹ̀? Ṣé mọ̀ pé a máa ń sọ pé èèyàn ní kókó gbogbo kinní yìí náà. Ẹ lè sọ pé báyìí ni kíkiní ṣe rí o, a dẹ̀ ti kọ sílẹ̀, àwọn èèyàn tá wá gbé sí díẹ̀ wọn wá ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀. Kí ni ètò tó wà láti make sure? Ẹ mọ̀ pé ní Nàìjíríà kò ń ṣe pé constitution ní fault títí ẹ̀ láti section 1 bó tiẹ̀ kọ́kọ́ sọ wípé we the people, tí àwọn èèyàn dẹ̀ sọ pé àwọn mọ̀ ń pa ẹ̀, ìyẹn á ti mọ̀ yẹn. Ṣùgbọ́n síbẹ̀ náà àwọn provisions tó ṣe wà nínú ẹ̀ náà wọ́n tó ṣe implement nítorí àwọn èèyàn tó wà ń díẹ̀ tí wọ́n ní fẹ́ implement ìwọ̀nba tó tún provide. Ètò tó wà nílẹ̀ pé Yorùbá Nation constitution yìí o, àwọn ètò tó pè sílẹ̀ yìí wọ́n gbọ́dọ̀ ṣe ní ṣá. Kí ni àrídájú, kí ni ìdánilójú tó wà nílẹ̀?
Ṣé rí sà, nǹkan méjì ni agbàgbọ́. Number one, agbàgbọ́ wípé tẹ́yìn bá fẹ́ ṣètò tó máa lárinrin, tó máa wà prosperous, èèyàn need the good system, a good governmental system structure. Ìyẹn ni tí ó sì ní Nàìjíríà, number one. Number two, I need the good people who are patriotic, tó nífẹ̀ẹ́ àwọn èèyàn wa, and tí wọ́n dẹ̀ fẹ́ ṣe the right thing at all times, tí wọn ò fẹ́ kó agbára jọ. Àwọn nǹkan báyìí ni àwọn nǹkan méjì yìí ó ṣe pàtàkì, good system and good people. Ìyẹn ni. èjì a tún believe pé Nàìjíríà tá a wà ti kó bá wa Yorùbá torí structure Nàìjíríà ó ń promote nepotism, and the nepotism, even the nepotism here is built into the system, and we can see the nepotism in the quota system tó wà ní Nàìjíríà. Àwọn tó wá látòkè ọya, the northerners, they have a special path into government by way of the quota system. Everybody else has to have a certain score to enter university or secondary school. But for them, the scores are lower. Even in government, same thing. So we have a system that is practicing nepotism, and nepotism by nature breed the corruption. So Nigeria has, because of the structure and the system and its practices, ó ti corrupt àwọn èèyàn wa. So I propose nínú section 7 of this of Article 1. Article 1 yìí òun la pè ní the people's rights. Tẹ́ bá fi ẹ máa rí pé àwọn ẹ̀tọ́ ọmọ ènìyàn, right to vote, the right to dignity, the right to your land. Ìwọ ló máa ní title ẹ, kò sí ìjọba ló máa own land ẹ. Right to freedom from corruption àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Ṣé wá ní section 7 yẹn tó sọ̀rọ̀ nípa right to freedom from corruption? We have in it section 7 clause 2A that talks about the reorientation program. Torí I believe pé without good people and on our journey, so we need to do a national reorientation of our minds. A máa kọ́ àwọn èèyàn wa, every single person, àtèmi Ṣalágbàlá, everybody tó jẹ́ Yorùbá ní Yoruba Nation, they will go through a course tá à ń pè ní national reorientation. Ó lè má ju wákàtí kan lọ, ó lè jẹ́ wákàtí kan àbọ̀, but it will be a course. Ó lè involve video, ó lè involve literature, but it will teach you àwọn nǹkan bíi ethics, civics, patriotism, morality, your rights under the law, àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Ibẹ̀ láti máa kọ́ àwọn èèyàn wa pé ìwọ torí àwa ṣàkíyèsí pé corruption ti wà ní káàkiri láti òkèèrè sílẹ̀. Èmi lọ sọ́jà ní Èkó, wọ́n dẹ̀ fẹ́ gbá mi ní change 50 naira.
Ẹ̀yin ò dẹ̀ fẹ́ gbà.
Ẹni tí mo tẹ̀lé lọ, ó ní pé ẹ bá mi fún ọkùnrin yìí ní change mi o, mò ń bọ̀. Ó dẹ̀ lọ ṣùgbọ́n àlọ́kọ níwájú. Ó rò pé mi ò pay attention, kò wá fún mi ní change yẹn. Ṣé get? Akówó fún mechanic kó lọ ra parts wá, a ní kó lọ ra German parts, ó lọ ra Chinese parts. So everywhere you go, corruption ó ti wọ grassroots. A lọ sí ọ́fíìsì pé a fẹ́ lọ gba license, driver license ní ọ́fíìsì. Kàkà tó lè gba license, ó ń gba owó lọ́wọ́ mi kó tó lè fún mi license mi. Bó ṣe pé mi ò qualify lábẹ́ òfin o, I qualify, but I feel mo ti ṣe all the forms, mo ti ṣe all the courses, but.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ tún gbọ́dọ̀ qualify.
Ṣe until tí ọwọ́ bọwọ́ tí mo tún láti send owó sí kó tó fún mi nígbà ìyẹn ò ṣe bribe, ìyẹn ni extortion, ìyẹn ni graft, collecting money from me before I can receive what is rightfully mine under the law. So in everywhere you go, ẹ máa rí corruption yẹn bẹ̀. So I realize pé a gbọ́dọ̀ ṣe reorientation. A máa kọ́ àwọn èèyàn pé ìwọ tó ń gba rìbá yẹn, o lè rò pé ìwọ nìkan ló ń gba rìbá, kò ṣe nǹkan ńlá. Ṣùgbọ́n tí gbogbo ìlú bá ń gba rìbá, kò sí bàtà ní sọ Yoruba Nation di Nigeria part 2.
To be continued. Nigeria to be continued in another name. Mo rí pé ẹ má bínú, mo rí pé constitution yẹn draft, bóyá torí pé ó sì jẹ́ draft ní English language, èdè Gẹ̀ẹ́sì náà fi kọ́. Mi mọ̀ bóyá kí ni official language tó máa adopt ní ti ṣe constitution stipulate official language tí Yoruba Nation máa adopt as official language. Wo ni èdè wo ni wọ́n máa adopt as official language? Ṣé constitution yẹn máa specify ẹ̀?
Ó tiẹ̀ specify ẹ̀ ni.
Okay.
Article 1 section 10 sọ pé official language and right to Yoruba language. Ó sọ pé Yoruba, this is Article 1 section 1 under the right of the people. A sọ pé Yoruba being the official language of Yoruba Nation and the several states, every person is entitled to communicate and conduct business in the Yoruba language. So ìyá aláta tàbí àgbẹ̀ tó fẹ́ kó wá sílé owó, wọ́n gbúdọ̀ fi Yorùbá bá ṣe òwò. Tí ẹni tó wà bẹ́ẹ̀ bá gbọ́ Yorùbá kó lọ mú interpreter wá, torí pé Yorùbá nation ni wá, Yorùbá ni wá, a lè gbọ́dọ̀ lo èdè wa. So yàtọ̀ sí national reorientation that propose tó yẹ pé every single person ó máa ṣe course yẹn, how to maintain this country tí a fẹ́ gbà lọ́wọ́ Nàìjíríà yìí, how to build it, nation building, patriotism, ethics, civics, ìfẹ́ ọmọlàkejì wa, this is the national reorientation, gbogbo ala máa ṣe course yẹn. Kò ní sí pé mò ń kọjá lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ títí mo ju èpo ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ sílẹ̀ lẹ̀, no, because a máa tọ́jú ìlú wa nílùú míì. But no one has ever really taught us these things. Tẹ́ bá lọ sí England, tẹ́ bá lọ sí America, àti kékeré ni wọ́n ti ń kọ́ àwọn ọmọ wọn ní kinní yìí. Àti kékeré ni, and no wonder pé ìlú wọn ó ń gbòòrò, ó wà smooth, because they have been teaching them all these principles from when they were children. So a máa initiate kinní yìí nínú ìlú wa, a pè ní national orientation program for every citizen.
ṣeun gan. Ẹnìkan ní interest nínú question kan mi báyìí. On it, Segun, please let your guests tell us what the Constitution says about accountability. Ìyẹn ni bí báwo ni alàgbà ti fi mí ṣe rẹ́rìn already. Mo mọ̀ pé máa fi yẹn yọ ọ̀rọ̀ sí mi lára pé ara di tá a ṣe sọ pé Yorùbá gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ official language yẹn. Accountability, àmọ́ tí ó túmọ̀ sí pé kí nǹkan transparent, kí everybody máa mọ bó ṣe ń lọ. Ṣé Yorùbá Nation Constitution yìí, ṣé draft yẹn mo mọ̀ pé ó ṣì máa gba input àwọn èèyàn gẹ́gẹ́ bí nǹkan tí mo rí tí wọ́n dá, ó ṣe sí ask window for people to have input. But so far, ṣé draft yẹn ti sọ nípa accountability? Kí ni àwọn nǹkan tí ó sọ nípa to make sure that there is accountability in the system of government? Àbí yẹn pẹ̀lú nǹkan tí wọ́n ṣì máa gbà as input from the populace?
We are open to input. Alákọ̀ọ́ta ṣe ń ṣe àwọn ṣó báyìí nìyẹn. Ṣùgbọ́n tẹ́ bá lọ wo section 7 clause 1, ó sọ̀rọ̀ nípa freedom from corruption, and ó sọ pé no immunity for officials. It says, this is Article 1, Section 7, Clause 1. It says the citizens the citizens and residents of Yoruba Nation shall be free from corruption. No person holding an office of profit or trust under Yoruba Nation or the several states shall be entitled to criminal immunity in cases of corruption or abuse of power, regardless of impeachment. Although túmọ̀ sí pé if you are in office as a government official in Yoruba Nation, and sanwó iṣẹ́ fún office to hold, or bóyá àti ẹ̀sánwó but you have the position, there is no immunity, there is no criminal immunity for any kind of corruption or abuse of power. Bóyá wọ́n impeach ẹni yẹn o, àbí wọ́n impeach ẹ o, ẹni yẹn ò ní criminal immunity. So the prosecutor has the power láti lọ bá governor ní governor office kó dẹ̀ kó ṣẹ́kẹ́ṣẹkẹ̀ sí lọ́wọ́ torí pé ó ti rúfin ìlú Yorùbá Nation. Ìyẹn, that is one form of accountability. There is another form of accountability tí a fọkàn sínú bíbá yìí. A kàn kọ́ sí ìbáyìí pé the right to dignity. The right to dignity. Tí ẹ bá lọ wo every ìṣẹ́jú kan kí n pull up exactly ibi tó wà. Section 5, this is Article 1, Section 5. This is Article 1 is the people's rights.
Yeah.
Section 5 says that, now, mo fẹ́ sọ pé many of nǹkan tá a kọ sí ibà yìí ó wá from personal experience. Àwọn èèyàn àti gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọ Yorùbá lórílẹ̀ Nàìjíríà bá tó ti rí pé a fẹ́ repeat ó influence àwọn nǹkan tá a kọ sí ibà yìí. Eléyìí sọ pé this is Article 1, Section 5, right to dignity. The right to dignity being sacred. The people shall be free of abuse from the government and any agent thereof. The assembly and state legislatures shall enact firm punishment for such abuse and violations, which the executives of the Yoruba Nation and the states respectively shall duly enforce. Ó túmọ̀ sí wípé ẹ mọ̀ pé ní ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ní Nàìjíríà báyìí ń sìn àwọn army, àwọn soldiers bí ọba ló ṣe ń ṣe. SARS ń sìn, ọlọ́pàá ń sìn, olórí young man kan wọ́n dẹ̀ lè rubbish ẹ̀ torí pé wọ́n respect the dignity àwọn èèyàn. Tí ó bá dúró síwájú ATM kò bá tò sínú oòrùn fún 30 minutes tí sójà bá dé á gbá ẹsẹ̀ gbẹ́ á chance ẹ á dẹ̀ máa lọ. They don't respect our right of dignity. So àwa kọ́ sí bíbá yìí pé our people have a right to dignity, and àwọn state legislatures àti assembly, federal assembly, wọ́n gbọ́dọ̀ pàṣẹ òfin tó máa impose firm punishment for violating our people's right to dignity, which is another measure of accountability fún tó bá abuse the position, whether you are government president, governor, or a soldier. As long as you are an agent of Yoruba Nation or any of the states, to violate the right of dignity, I'm a for
Okay, good. Meanwhile,
Let me quickly add to that accountability.
Okay.
There's this
Because
is
mo mọ̀ yí pé
still this is
Ọlájídé
just
fẹ́
about
mọ̀ pàtó.
accountability. Ó lè béèrè particular thing tó bá fẹ́, but let me tell
Nípa
you,
punishment.
yes, we have that. Now, this is government of representation. Nǹkan kan ṣẹlẹ̀ tó máa ń ṣe nínú Nigeria ń talk about accountability. Tó bá ti dìbò, àwọn èèyàn ẹ pè wọ́n ní aṣojú constituency ní ilé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin. That means you are representative of people in the assembly. Tán bá ti wá, tán ti fọwọ́ sí, tán ti di ìbò ọdún mẹ́rin, ẹlòmíì ò dé constituency ẹ̀ kò mọ bó ṣe ń lọ. As a matter of fact, in our proposed constitution, you must ni mo sọ òfin ni wípé ẹni tó bá ń represent constituency ó ní ààyè tá a fún àti àwọn àsìkò tá a fún láti lọ máa lọ sáwọn ọ̀dọ̀ àwọn èèyàn ẹ̀ tó ń ṣaṣojú ẹ̀ kán lè hold it accountable. Àwọn nǹkan yìí o, a ní ìdí ọ̀nà ní bíbá yìí o, ó dẹ̀ ti ń ṣaṣojú wá ń sìn fọ́dún kan. Because I think it's a must kó lọ síbẹ̀ kó bá wọn ṣe meeting ní constituency ẹ̀ within 3 months. Otherwise, a fún wọn ní ààyè láti pè padà gan. Wípé you are not representing us well. So, and on and on and on.
Ṣé mọ̀ pé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn kíní tẹ́sán yìí náà wà nínú constitution Nigeria pé èèyàn lè recall ẹni tí kò bá ṣe dáadáa.
But ta ló máa recall when we are practicing a godfatherism system. Godfather ló ń install àwọn èèyàn now, whether it's governor or president or whatever in Nigeria, and we know that, and it's across the nation. Àwọn kan wà nílẹ̀ Hausa, àwọn kan wà nílẹ̀ Yorùbá. I mean, I think Igbos too. So it will be very difficult nígbà yẹn pé àwọn èèyàn kan iṣẹ́ aráàlú gangan ló ń yan èèyàn. Àwọn afiọbajẹ ló ń yan àwọn èèyàn. Ìwọ ló máa lọ rep, ìwọ ló máa lọ senate. It's not kò reflect the choice of the people.
Meanwhile, gbogbo àwọn nǹkan tí a ti sọ síbẹ̀ tó jẹ́ bí modification àbá adjustment tí àwọn èèyàn ń wish fún kó wà ní constitution tá a bá fi propose draft constitution yìí. Ǹjẹ́ ó ṣeé ṣe tá a bá rí tí Nàìjíríà bá sọ pé people want this, people want that. We are having constitutional conferences and we want to just put all of these modifications into place time to time. We need therefore at least, but ṣé ó lè placard àwọn tí wọ́n ń jà fún a gbọ́dọ̀ gba self-determination àbí country mi. Ṣé tí wọ́n bá gbogbo nǹkan tí ẹ list sínú draft constitution yìí tí wọ́n bá amend the constitution Nigeria tí wọ́n bá gbé wọlé, ṣé ó ṣeé ṣe kó rí àwọn èèyàn lẹ́kún láti sọ pé ó da àfẹ́ country mi mọ́.
I know where you're going. Permit me now. Ẹ̀rù pé mo relax látẹ̀kan barista ń sọ gbogbo ẹ̀. Ẹ ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ kàn mí lóró ń sìn pẹ̀lú ọ̀rọ̀ tẹ́ sọ nìyẹn.
Ẹ jẹ́ ká gbọ́.
Because ẹ ń fi wàhálà ìwọ lọ́hùn. Ẹ ń fi ẹni tó kú wé ẹni tó sùn. Intellect làwa náà níwọ̀n bá tiwa. Àrùn tó ń ṣogójì ló ń ṣọ̀ọ́dúnrún. I see people in abroad. Bóyá torí àti lọ ka doctorate àti níṣẹ́, we think we are okay. What about our culture? What about our roots? Àwọn ọmọ wa níbí báyìí tán tiẹ̀ lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ tán ń sọ Yorùbá tán ṣe. I don't see why they will want to come back home. Ẹlòmíì ti gbé sájò kò kàn mọ́ ni. Wọ́n máa ṣàdúrà fún pé Ọlọ́run má jẹ́ gbé sájò. See, there's many problems in that country. Fẹ́ràn ara wa. We don't trust each other right from the 60s. Ẹ wo nǹkan tí àwọn fathers tán jẹ́ founding fathers tán sọ nípa Nàìjíríà, whether it's Awolowo, whether it's Sardauna, even Azikiwe, none of them believe in this contraption. But àwọn tó ń benefit nínú status quo. So you see, I'm a Muslim, but mo máa ń ka Bible. Bíbélì ní tí ìpìlẹ̀ṣẹ̀ bá ti bàjẹ́, kí ló lódodo fẹ́ ṣe? You're talking of a country where it is a rotational sharing of national cake. Tí Igbo bá bọ́ síbẹ̀, wọ́n á jẹ tiwọn. Wọ́n á ní Yorùbá ló kàn. That is why who rotates government? It don't make sense. If we are one, truly, why do we need to be rotating, sharing of power? That's because we recognize that we're not one. Otherwise, it should not be about where you are from. It should be about who you are. And now,
and merit.
Yes, about merit. Ati ro nkan tẹ́ sọ yìí, that would they even borrow our idea and say we want to fix it? I don't see that happening because we have corruption. As a matter of fact, tó bá jẹ́ pé wọ́n máa ń ṣe blood transfusion fáwọn èèyàn ni against corruption bọ́n ṣe máa ń ṣe ti cancer, ó yẹ ká pààrọ̀ ẹ̀jẹ̀ àwọn èèyàn wa ni because it's deeply in their blood. Nǹkan tá a kàn rò ní pé wọ́n ní tómi tuntun bá rú ẹja tuntun á wọdò. Tí oníkálukú bá lọ ń ṣèjọba ẹ̀, we will have a healthy competition. Wípé ẹ wo àwọn ọmọ Igbo wọ́n mà ti ń lọ sí moon. Maybe àwọn Yorùbá àwọn náà dìde, and we had that. Nígbà tí Western region ṣe dáadáa, we have pyramid in the north, we have palm oil in the east. Oníkálukú bọ̀ nígbà tá a ti répo báyìí, it's a rotational sharing of the national cake. Now the trust is no longer there. We don't love ourselves.
Barrister.
Yes, sir.
Mo rí pé kíní ìlà yẹn tún ti já lọ́dọ̀ Mr. Alágbàlá, so mo ní kí n tún check pẹ̀lú yín bóyá wọ́n ti wá lọ́nà méjì báyìí o. Mo ti rí wọn lọ́nà méjì, ẹ jẹ́ ó dà pọ̀ tún lo another device ni. Okay, wọ́n ti padà. Agbádùn yín lọ.
Not at all. But where am I going? Ni pé everything is about foundation.
Okay.
Ilé ayé tá wà yìí sà. One of the best gifts from our creator, God, Ọlọ́run, Shineke, Ogun, whatever you want to call it, ó ní pé we can testify that we're given freedom, and it's the best thing a man can give. Choice. And that is why even láyé àtijọ́ táwọn ọba ń pàṣẹ tó ń dictate, wọ́n last. There was a revolution all over the world. And now we have people's representation, but this is our choice. That's why Tashin Dibo, Fenito. But what we have is where people has find a way. Now. Because 5 years ago, there was no Yoruba agitation. Yoruba lo ni suruju. Fela kọrin fún wa pé softly and smiling. But he also sang, ó kọrin fún wa pé when your condition don't reach make you talk, you will talk. Nǹkan tó ń ṣe wọ́n ní Nàìjíríà ló ń ṣàwátàwà labroad, tá jẹ́ Yorùbá. A dẹ̀ rí àwọn ìyá ti north kó máa wá struggle bí àwa àtàwọn ọmọ Igbo. For example, tèmi nìkan bá ní mo wà okay pẹ̀lú àwọn ọmọ mi ń bí. You know we are extended family oriented people. Ṣé àǹtí mi á pè mí, wọ́n á lọ́mọ àwọn wà lọ́sípítù máa máa wò ni. So bó ṣe affect wọn lé ló affect àwa níta. But where am I going is this. Bóyá tí wọ́n bá jókòó, tí wọ́n bá pe àwọn èèyàn pé ṣé nǹkan tẹ́ fẹ́ rèé, báwo lẹ ṣe fẹ́? Maybe Nigeria can work. What we have now is a forced contraption by British for their own gain. Bóyá kẹ́ lọ ka bí Nigeria ṣe bẹ̀rẹ̀. Wọn kàn ká wa o. It was a trade treaty. Wọ́n wá ṣe business ni. Ó dẹ̀ ń gbòòrò mọ́ wọn lẹ́nu. Àwọn ọba wa náà ń complacent pẹ̀lú wọn. Bóyá torí pọ́gbọ́n àwọn bàbá wa ń gbà yẹn ò tó ọgbọ́n ẹ̀wẹ́ tiwọn. Wọ́n dẹ̀ amalgamate everything. Wọ́n ní ká fọwọ́ sí. We were never a conquered people. So an arrangement tó jẹ́ pé it was negotiated. Now you have people that are voted in power. Àwọn tó ń vote yẹn inú wọn wá ń pariwo pé àwọn ò ṣe mọ́. Ẹ̀yin wá ń sọ pé it is non-negotiable. Ẹbẹ́ fọ̀n lábàtà ẹ̀yọ̀ bẹ́lú. Do you see how our leaders think? Àwọn tó jẹ́ pé wọ́n vote President Buhari, wọ́n vote ẹ̀ sínú ọ́fíìsì ni now. It's not telling part of the people to vote ẹ̀ tó ń revote pé ẹ wá ó dà pé kíní yóò pè wá mọ́. wípé no you must stay. Ẹ jọ ṣé àwọn ló ń jà fún yẹn in the first place?
ẹ dákun ṣe rí torí àkókò mo mọ̀ pé mo sáré ajá kìíní ni
No problem.
táì àkókò ti lọ náà ká tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ ètò dẹ̀ mo rí pé barista náà tún ní nǹkan míì ṣe èmi náà fúnra mi ń bíbá níná bátìrì ni gbogbo ohun tí mò ń lò ń bí gbogbo
No
bátìrì mi
problem.
dẹ̀ ti ń wọ̀n mi ó ti wà ní 5-7%, ṣùgbọ́n ká tó lọ àwọn tí wọ́n bá fẹ́ make input àbí contribution one idea or the other or suggestions sínú draft constitution yìí báwo ni wọ́n ṣe lè ṣe ọ̀nà ọ̀nà lè gbé ká tó di pé a tún máa ní irú meeting báyìí láti continue conversation yìí láti tún gbé yẹ̀wò ibi tó dé.
wọ́n lè kò sí wàhálà wọ́n lè send the email sí group at Yoruba Strategy Alliance.org. Yeah, that is group at Yoruba.
ẹ jẹ́ kí n ṣe báyìí to make input mo fẹ́ kọ́ as comment sí gbogbo àwọn tó ń wò ó to make input into the draft Yoruba Nation Constitution. Please send mail to group at group at
Yoruba Strategy,
Yoruba Strategy Alliance
.org.
Group at Yoruba Strategy Alliance.org. So mo jù yẹn sí afẹ́fẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn àwọn èèyàn ti ń rí lórí YouTube wọ́n ti ń rí lórí Facebook bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn ẹ ṣeun gan. Okay.
Nigeria can never ever work. Tá a bá gbìyànjú kọ even tá a bá tún constitution yìí kọ tá a padà wá in 1,000 years Nigeria still can't work.
Kí nìdí?
The reason is because I respect nature. Ọlọ́run ti dá oríṣiríṣi ẹ̀yà ara wọn with their own language, culture, history, ancestry, and natural geographical boundaries. Yoruba, for example, we are over 56 million or so. Some nations in Europe are not even up to 1 million. But when you go to Europe, they understand the way Germany is for the German.
Yes.
France is for the French. Italy is for the Dutch, etc., etc. Spain is for the Spaniard. Wọn kì í kó Spain mọ́ France mọ́ Germany mọ́ kọ́ dáhùn pọ̀ sínú ìlú kan náà because each group of people have their own way of thinking, their own value system, their own ideology. So how do you mix different value systems, different cultures into the same political space and expect them to work? Of course, they'll be competing for dominance because you are incentivizing them to engage in a game of survival. Yoruba ò ní fẹ́ pé kán tẹ̀ wọ́n mọ́lẹ̀, Igbo ò ní fẹ́ pé kán tẹ̀ wọ́n mọ́lẹ̀, Hausa ò ní fẹ́ pé kán tẹ̀ wọ́n mọ́lẹ̀, and so on and so forth. So everybody will be competing for the political power.
And how to force their own value on others, which is what you have in Sharia North versus Constitutional South.
So the Northerners, I won't value Sharia, so they won't create a Sharia law in the northern part of the country. That is a reflection of their own value system. Ní ayé bàbá Awólọ́wọ̀, wọ́n fún àwọn òbí wa ní free education. Ó túmọ̀ sí pé we valued education and we made it compulsory for every children in that time. Àwọn Northerners wọ́n value irú nǹkan bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn.
Okay. A máa tẹ̀síwájú níbi tá a délé nígbà tí a bá tún ní opportunity láàrin ọ̀sẹ̀ tá a fẹ́ mú yẹn lágbára náà á tún padà wá ṣùgbọ́n ká tó lọ ẹ mọ̀ pé make àwọn example kan nípa àwọn country tó yẹ pé irú German people, Germany is meant for them, the French people, the France is meant for them, Yoruba nation should have Yoruba people and all that. Àwọn kan náà tún máa ní country, opposite or opposing views. We know there are still united states that has different cultures and that are heterogeneous in nature. Tó tún ṣe kó wọn jọ. A máa gbé láti ibẹ̀. Ẹ má jẹ́ ká ṣe yẹn lénìí. Ká má bàa dàpọ̀. Ká lè ṣe topic by.
Olóòtú kẹ́ tó lọ. Èmi náà ní ìbéèrè ẹyọ kan fún yín.
Okay.
Èdè wo náà ń sọ ní United Nations? Even though yes, gbogbo wọn migrate wá, but èdè wo náà ń sọ níbẹ̀ sà?
It's one uphold as national
No,
language ni.
there's only one language here. Wọ́n try àwọn Spanish ń sìn pé okay ká fi ṣe second language ká gbà láwọn. But they speak English. And most of them, that is their root. Àwọn Europeans náà migrate wá bí. Àwọn Londoners náà ń wá bí. Wọ́n á máa sọ history America ń gbà mí. Àwọn náà wá gba independent lọ́wọ́ Queen. Territory Queen lélẹ̀. Ó ní àwọn tó máa ń kó wá láti England ńgbà yẹn. Yes, I need some Dutch, some others, but English dominate bí àwọn tó ń wá wọ́n ti mọ̀ pé ìlú English làwọn ń bọ̀. So who tell us about that? Yeah.
Agbe láti bẹ̀ láàrin ọ̀sẹ̀ yìí, I schedule another to convene another meeting báyìí. Ó ṣeéṣe ká tó pọ̀ jù báyìí lọ ńgbà yẹn, so that more people will have more contributions to make about it. Ṣùgbọ́n kó tó dìgbà yẹn, gbogbo àwọn tó bá fẹ́ make a contribution sí this proposed constitution, group at
Yoruba
Strategy Alliance
.org.
ni ẹ máa send email sí. Ẹ ṣeun gan. Adúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ gbogbo yín tẹ́ join wa lénìí. We'll take this from there next time. Thank you so much, everybody. Bye for now.
Ẹ ṣé o.
Ẹ ṣé o. Olóòtú.